homesteading to prepping to common horse sense, we are College Hill Farm. Welcome back to College Hill Farm. Well, it's time to plant our onion sets. Now, onion sets are not like onion slips. Now, these bulbs of onions are little bulbs. They're not great big, but they don't make the great big old onions. You need something called an onion slip, and we'll do those a little bit later. I don't do those till mid-April. But I want to plant these onion sets because they have no tops on them. They need a boost to grow. So I'm going to put them in now, and by the middle of April they'll be up probably that high. Today is April the 4th, so that's what I'm going to do. Now I've got red ones, and I have white and yellow ones. The white and yellow I just mixed in the same bag. Now these are really cheap. I think these are like $1.35 a pound at our little hardware store. So they're really cheap. But now they're not going to make big onions. They're only going to make what I call green onions. And we put them in the freezer. There'll be a white part. The bulbs can get good size, but they won't get big. Like a big onion like we store, like you buy at the grocery store. They just won't get that big. The smaller the bulb, the bigger the onion gets. You know, these little bitty ones will make a bigger onion than the bigger ones. So I'm going to get started at doing that. Now, how do I plant them? Well, I plant them with a pipe planter, but this one doesn't have an end that's cut at an angle. Well, why is that? Well, the reason is apparently my actual pipe planter that I use for doing onions with a tapered end, apparently I have used it in a plumbing project. It's one of those things, you know, everything on the farm is up for grabs. So apparently I used it in a plumbing project, but I had this piece of 3/4 inch, I think this is inch. Yeah, it's inch. This is 1 inch pipe, PVC. It's comes up to about right here, which is about right for planting comfortably, standing straight up. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take these onions. Now, a lot of people see me wearing bib overalls, and I wear bib overalls a lot. I wear my Dickies a lot too. But the reason people like bib overalls, especially the farmer types, they like them because of all these great big old deep pockets. That's why I like them. I'll just put a couple of handfuls of these in each of these front two pockets. I emptied them out, took any change or anything like that out. And I'm just going to fill them up pretty much with these onions and use these as my pouch. A lot of times I've used a carpenter apron for this, but this works just as fine. Now, what am I going to do about these onions? I'm only going to plant one row, because if you remember, we did that video about looking in your freezer to decide what you need to plant. Well, my freezer, I had 5 bags of green onions. They come from these. So I'm going to go ahead and plant just one row. Normally I plant 2 rows every year. So this year I'm just going to plant one row because we have 5 bags in the freezer still. So let's get over here and show you how to use this pipe planter to plant these. Now if you look out here in the garden, right in there is a set of cauliflower. That might be cabbage, I don't know. It's a set of cauliflower cabbage right in this area. And then there's a couple of dimples, of rows, and right in about here is where I want to put those onions, because I want to use my tractor and till between the rows to keep it nice and clear. So that's where I'm going to plant them. It makes my rows really wide, but I got plenty of ground, so it doesn't matter if I make the rows wide. And tilling with the tractor is so much easier than tilling with a hand tiller. So let's get over here and get at this. I'll show you how to do them. Now, when you do these, back up enough where you can see, when you do these, you just take and I'm going to follow along close to this So you just move things to the side, take an onion like this, drop it in, and it falls and lands right there in the hole. Then you just cover it back up. Now I'm bad to take and put 4 or 5 in before I cover any. So let's bring you a little closer so you can see a more close-up shot. Now, you just take your pipe, push it in the ground, and it makes a nice little hole. Then you drop your onion, and they land bottom up if you put them in the thing right. And when you lift it up, there's your onion right there in the hole. So you just kick a little dirt on it, or use your pipe to do that. But sometimes the onions are too big to fit in your pipe planter. Here's an example. This onion right here is too big around to go through my pipe planter. So what do I do with that? Well, all I do is I take and kick me out a hole with a pipe planter, and then just drop my onion, and then cover it up. Okay, that's really, really quick and really, really easy. So now I'll get down through here, and I've got a whole 100-foot row of these to plant, so I need to get at that. You want to plant these about 6 inches apart. Now I've planted like 5 of them. I'll cover all 5, and I'm ready to move on down the row. Okay, I'll love them in. I think I put 130. I tried to do them 6 inches apart, but I think I wound up with some being 4 inches and some being 5 inches. But I've got an onion hoe, and you'll see that when I hoe them. I try to do them 6 inches apart because it just makes hoeing easier. I was counting down through there, and I got lost about 150. I don't know if it was 150 or 130. I think I counted 230 total, but it's just a guess at this point. So that's our onions. I'll come back in a day or two after they're up and I can see exactly where the row is, and I'll fertilize them. They don't get a lot of fertilizer. Onions are pretty heavy feeders, but to be honest, the ground's pretty fertile here, and onions do really good. So I'll come back and fertilize them a little bit, and then sometime around July we'll harvest them. But if you don't keep the weeds out of them, you don't get no onions. That's just the way it is. That's the way with big onions, and that's the way with these onion sets. If you don't keep the weeds out of them, you don't get none. So, whew. And I got it just in time because the rain is just now starting. So, won't be no tater planting today. I can plant taters next week. Now, if you like this stuff, this homestead and do-it-yourself kind of thing, be certain to come on out to the channel and subscribe. We do this homesteading stuff every week, sometimes 1, sometimes 5 videos. Just depends on what's going on in the homestead that week. Now, if you hit the little bell when you come to the channel, it'll notify you when we upload a video. We upload every Sunday. Now, with that being said, let's get out of this rain and get on to the next thing.